So for some reason I woke up and I'm thinking about all the different things that somebody's saying that necessarily happened to me. Like somebody talking about something being placed in my mouth and and this and that. As I'm thinking of it, my thought chain goes to somebody saying, oh, they want to kill, da 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 da, and trying to and I'm like, okay, I don't really want to kill myself. I didn't want to do that. Like somebody was trying to force me to that. Somebody's supposed to stand up for yourself, or killing people, or putting people in a hole outside as they built stuff and stand in a certain way so certain things look like death. Um, Talking about sacrificing and charging 20,000 to see something happen, and being in the hospital, knowing stuff and not saying things, and messing with free will. Talking about taking somebody to the sunken place. Talking about lying or somebody making them do stuff. Talking about sacrifice. And I was like, first of all, I don't want to sacrifice anything. I don't want to even cut a head off of a snake. Because like if it's created, then obviously it's for a reason, despite what you may feel or may think. So I'm sitting here like, why am I being woken up? Oh, maybe they'll shine some light on the truth and get it to stop talking. Because I'm sitting here like, oh, well, maybe it's the this, or maybe it's the that, or maybe it's the this. Maybe y'all have something y'all shouldn't have around y'all. Because clearly you should be able to come and talk to somebody. You're like, oh, well, you so much, da-da-da. It's like, I believe in God. I said, I don't like the fact that everything is about Jesus Christ. Like, oh, pray to Jesus. Like, no, pray to God. You're not supposed to be placing somebody before God. If it says in the commandments that he is he's a jealous God. He doesn't want you to place none before him. Why would you place his son before him? You know what I mean? Like it's something, you got the story of bringing, I went back and forth with the pastor only to try to find truth, and he stumbled on his words based on that. I was like, well, why do you pray to Jesus to pray to God? Shouldn't you pray to God? Wasn't he bringing you closer to God? And and he was like, oh well, he I thought he returned to heaven. You're saying that he's here with us, but then he turns into, oh yeah, well he's da 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 da. I'm like, oh okay, so you're making him like, whatchamacallit? So that's kind of weird. And he's like, oh, virgin, da da da. I was like, okay, I just will continue to pray to God, not saying I am, not saying I'm this, not saying I'm that. As a matter of fact, I get mad if somebody does say it like that. But somebody else is one, you do everything they say and then mess with God's will. Talking about a sunken place. Talking about trying to brainwash somebody or make somebody into a prostitute or not paying a prostitute and doing all this other stuff. I'm like, isn't that kind of... And then some people sitting around trying to make me be detrimental to my own health. Frustrated. Talking about having a kid. If you frustrate somebody and have them upset and confused and brought by confusion, 9 times out of 10, or have their clothing as sackcloth, or do all of this other stuff and lie and tell all these stories that you know aren't true, and continually tell them. You know what I mean? I'm not sitting there doing that. I'm not sitting here saying all this stuff. I was like, somebody has to brainwash or force my thoughts into the wrong direction before they're wrong like that. So I'm sitting here like, why am I hearing this conversation at night? And also somebody going back and forth. I don't like going back and forth. I've said what I've said. I mean what I said. I don't understand why somebody wouldn't explain to me everything that's going on in its entirety if they're so correct, or they're doing God's work, or they're doing something that is supposed to be done. Why are you making people do things? Why are people saying, oh, look, like, whatchamacallit comes out like last time? They're making me say it. Oh, I said it, such and such. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's what you get for messing. So you're getting revenge, or this is a plot or a con, or are you telling on somebody? You know what I mean? Like, you're not really specifying what you're doing. you're just kind of like, oh, I'm this. What happens if something does happen? Has anybody really came and talked to me about X, Y, and Z? I'm like, it doesn't make any sense as to why everything isn't said. And like, oh, what if this is that? And what if that is this? Babe, have you thought to actually take me and talk to somebody, have somebody sit down and try to analyze this? Or are you allowing somebody to kind of sit and play? Remember, they want to be your what? Or they want to be the, oh, you're not mine. I'm like, okay, what? Like, isn't God? Like, why are y'all sitting here like, oh, yeah. Like, that's kind of weird. Like, you're making it into something that's dark. And it's kind of weird in that sense, especially when somebody was trying and now they're tired. Like, oh, why don't you go da 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 da? Oh, I messed up his credit. Oh, can't pay his bill. Oh, da da da. It's like just working against me all the time. And I'm like, I'm tired. Like, I don't want to wake up at 10 o'clock. We're hearing these conversations and nobody actually bringing me in the middle of them, but you hear them and they're relating to things that occurred in my life. And then when I think of certain things, somebody rebuttals. So I was just sitting here and I was like thinking, was it that the same person that said they wanted to kill the crap? And they're like, oh, but didn't you want to say that? And I'm like, okay, well, how are you going back and forth with my thoughts? That's my thought. I'm thinking like, okay, well, maybe he is a good guy or maybe he isn't a good guy, but I'm trying to put that together in my head without somebody interrupting or rebuttaling all the time. Trying to have a clear head, clear mind, clear what? Clear head. But instead you don't. I mean, like I said, that's imposing upon free will. If you're telling people what to do when you know somebody's actually going towards a certain direction. Like, oh, I'm trying to make sure you're strong. So then why are you doing all this extra stuff? Honey? Okay, strength, good. Yay. Strength in God. Strength in having faith. Like, why would you continue to keep doing the same thing over and try to make up so many excuses and talk about taking money out your mouth? So like, I'm a little bit sick and tired of the person not being conscious and somebody saying they're not giving a. So in the same breath, you're not giving it. I'm like, and if somebody's actually standing up for me, I'm like, it's because of all the lies that are getting tossed my way. And then we turn around and we, like today, everybody's kind of making light of it. Like, oh, we know. Da, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, well, if you know, why you keep saying it? There are other people that don't know. And I'm like, the things that occurred at these hospitals, I'm like, y'all should tell the truth. You sat there in the Bronx hospital and made fun of the whole thing in the freaking ER. I put it on my life. Harlem Hospital, my life. HRA, my life. Polo Grounds, my life. Praxis, my life. Here, my life. Why is it so hard to be honest? Do y'all have somebody sitting there looking at y'all like, if you tell the truth, I'm gonna. And then that too, somebody walking around talking about some killing somebody all the time. That don't strike any familiar bells. I'm not running around talking about I'm gonna kill somebody. Me, if somebody even said they or thought they'd like to blank burn on somebody, that's not even them doing it. That's meaning like, God, please come and do something because these people are all at my throat and they don't realize what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, and I'm wondering people like, what are y'all doing? Like, y'all trying to push me to wanting to do something like that. And I'm not that person to be all, like even a guy that came to me yesterday, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like you looked at me, I looked at you, oh, hey. But then, I walked by today, that we were just playing with that. Okay, well, y'all need to draw a line in playing and not playing. Because clearly, you could be pushing out a whole bunch of wrong energy. And that's why I'm trying to put my foot down and say, hey, some of y'all, don't know what y'all doing, and you're putting out the wrong